moving right along here, Mr. Chairman. Administrative powers, I want to support the Ukraine dilemma that we're in over there. The Ukrainians have continued to fight to win in the face of the Russian brutal invasion. Congress has stepped in the face of this historical attack on Ukraine's sovereignty to provide equal historical levels of economy and humanitarian assets. Every dollar, and I truly mean every dollar, must be accounted for. That is the pushback I'm getting from my constituents, and they're very frustrated and very tired. All they see is everything going out and no answerability for it. We owe it to both the Americans and to the Ukrainians, people who are fighting this war, to make sure every dollar is used properly. Will you please describe in detail the layer of monitoring and oversight requirements for our assistance to Ukraine?
Yes, thank you so much, Congressman. Your constituents' demands, their questions are questions that every American has every right to ask, every member of Congress has every right to ask, and that from day one we have known, we have known that we would be accountable to answer those questions. So the systems that we have put in place from the beginning have put us in a position now where, as you know, probably from engagements with the Inspector General at USAID or those for the State Department, notwithstanding the vast sums of money that have flowed in direct budget support to the government of Ukraine, up to this point, there has been no evidence that any of our assistance has been misappropriated. And that's in part because the system we have set up is one where it's about reimbursement for verified expenses. We do this, we channel the direct budget support through the World Bank. They have an established mechanism with safeguards internal to their system. As the Secretary, I think, testified here, there are about 50 people at the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine, especially now that our staff presence has ramped back up, who have a hand in overseeing how this assistance is spent. That wasn't enough for us, or for me personally, knowing, again, that these questions would legitimately get asked. We hired Deloitte as a third-party monitor to be able to do spot checks, to do a gap analysis also into the Ukrainian ministries' systems and their, again, verification systems. I think you saw with the house cleaning that Zelensky did several months ago, of course, that there was corruption, and it didn't involve USAID assistance, but you saw a systemic response. And what I would also just point to, which is not well known, I think, up here or by the American people, is the investments that you have enabled us to make over 10 years in Ukraine's anti-corruption institutions, including its Prosecutor General's office, its Special Anti-Corruption Bureau, and its independent media. And it's the independent media who first surfaced, indeed, the allegation that the Deputy Minister of the Interior was using funds inappropriately. Just last week, I announced an additional $20 million, thanks to some of the resources in one of the more recent supplementals, in order to fund another verification effort, another organization coming in and providing a check upon a check. And of course, our Inspector General at USAID is going to be ramping up their physical staff presence on the ground. But, again, up until this point, and please, if anybody finds anything that is brought to their attention, we have a hotline that has been set up where people can report anything that they see, see something, say something, so we can smother it quickly. But as of yet, I think the system has worked.
So you brought up another question for me. Understanding the security situation and the safety of our staff, which is very, very critical, are we conducting in-person monitoring by the U.S. government personnel?
We are working primarily through implementing partners like Deloitte and like the new entity that we'll be bringing online. That is how USAID works generally. We hire implementing partners or contract out implementing partners to perform whatever the task is at hand. Here it is verification and monitoring. We do have 47 Ukrainian staff. 70% of USAID's workforce overseas are nationals of the countries in which we work. And they have been present in Kyiv even as the U.S. presence drew down in Kyiv and in other parts of Ukraine. And they are also active in the ministries and physically, staging visits and so forth. But that's different, I think, than what you're talking about, which is sort of being right seat, left seat with the people who are spending the money. That is done through implementing partners.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Carl, thank you for continually bringing this up. Administrator, I will tell you that this is a question that Mr. Carl has been asking, and you're the first person who's actually answered it I think in a detailed, concrete way, and so I thank you for doing that. It's been